The other day, I was about to preach a message to a group of people, and I had a man come up to me with the declaration that any worship we did on a Sunday could only be worship to the devil because the Sabbath could only be recognized on a Saturday. Needless to say, I was shocked by his statement and attitude. He didn't stay for the service, but he did give me a book to read before I left. Hesitantly, I went ahead and read through the book he gave me. Although it made no claims about Sunday worship being given to the devil, it did a much better job than I first anticipated at making the point that the Sabbath day of rest and worship needed to be recognized on Saturday. So I slowly went through the book, wanting to make sure that I took every point being made seriously. I would often immediately see counterpoints to be made against the book's claims, but I was surprised to see a lot of my counterpoints being refuted. However, it ultimately came down to one particular verse in Scripture, so I'd like to walk you through some of my journey. Now, I agreed with the book in every point it made regarding the necessity of the Sabbath being recognized by Christians today. I believe that even being under the new covenant, God still expects us to take aside time to rest and connect with Him. The point of contention, however, came with whether or not it needed to be tied to Saturday. The only verse that I believe made a strong argument for this was Genesis chapter 2, verse 3, that states, "God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it." This seemed to be the only thing in Scripture to indicate the importance of the day itself, rather than the actions of resting and worshiping. After wrestling with this for quite a while, I noticed the rest of the verse. It says, "God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made." You see, the day was not blessed because it was the seventh day. It was blessed because of the act of resting. This expansion tore apart the rest of the arguments the book made. If our work week begins on Monday, then Sunday becomes the seventh day from when we start work. Resting on Saturday would then become resting on the sixth day rather than the seventh. And what about for pastors? Sundays are certainly no day of rest for us, so why move church services to Saturday so we're no longer able to rest on that day? There's no way to make a particular day work absolutely for every person. This is one of those instances where you have to go back to the why. Why did God call for people to take a Sabbath rest? It was so we could have a time set apart for our bodies to recover and our spirits to connect with God. As long as those requirements are being met, the rest of the details don't really matter. Let's take Christmas, for example. If we celebrated Christmas in January, say on the 10th, instead of December 25th, would that lessen the celebration of Jesus' birth at all? Of course not. We'd still be remembering that day and making it holy because of the attitude of our heart instead of the outward appearances of when we celebrate it before an eternal God that lives beyond the constraints of time. See, the Pharisees cared about the letter of the law. Jesus cared about the condition of the heart. The Sabbath was intended for mankind to give us a time to rest. It's the resting that's important, not the day. Even if I am completely wrong about this, and the Sabbath really should only be celebrated on Saturday, that doesn't put me anywhere different. My sins are still forgiven by God's grace, and I'll do my best to fulfill the mission He has called me to do of spreading the gospel message about His loving salvation available to all people. Whether that's done on a Saturday or a Sunday makes no difference to me. But if you'd like to talk to me more about this subject, or you have a question you'd like me to address, you can contact me through the Sermon in the Pocket Facebook page or email me at sermoninthepocket@gmail.com. Also, if you like what I'm doing and want to support this program, you can pledge a monthly support on my Patreon page. Either way, thank you for taking the time to listen, and have a wonderful day.